Welcome to the first edition of the Montana Air National Guard Report, a broadcast news program highlighting the activities of the men and women of the Montana Air National Guard. We hope you enjoy this program and welcome your comments and suggestions for our future shows. We begin this first program with a story on a former fighter pilot that had a chance to share his story with elementary school children and see the many improvements made to his old unit since the days when he flew fighter aircraft in the 60s and 70s. A former Montana Air National Guard fighter pilot served as a guest speaker to 5th grade students in the Great Falls Starbase classroom in March. Larry Linseth spoke to the students about his experiences flying fighter aircraft and his successful parachute deployment following an aircraft engine flameout during a mission flown over north central Montana in 1971. Linseth enjoyed spending time discussing his flying experiences with the students.
We tend to lose track of generations, but if anything you can pass on to your kids and grandkids, it'll stick around a little longer than maybe.
Linseth flew F-102 Delta Dagger and F-106 Delta Dart fighter aircraft for 10 years from 1964 until 1974 when the Montana unit was a fighter interceptor group. The Air National Guard captain enjoyed flying the F-102, which was the first United States Air Force operational Delta Wing supersonic jet fighter.
It was a great airplane. There's not much I didn't like about it. It was a great flying machine, very forgiving.
The former fighter pilot was excited to be able to tour the base and see the improvements and new additions made since his days serving in the Montana Air National Guard.
I think my favorite memories would probably revolve around the people that I met here, and a lot of them were very good friends. It was a great time in my life, and I loved it, and I look back on it with fondness.
Colonel Hronik had the chance to thank the outstanding performers that were identified during the recent compliance inspection during the March Unit Training Assembly. 120th Fighter Wing members were recognized for their outstanding efforts during the ceremony that was held in the Larson Room.
I wish I could recognize all of you for what you did, but really it was real phenomenal for what you did. So thank you for this time as we go into the future and continue to fly, fight, and win.
120th Fighter Wing pilots, maintenance personnel, and aircraft are continuing to perform an important alert fighter mission way up north in Alaska. This is the first of 3 stories on the Montana Vigilantes that are stationed at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson. Approximately 50 members of the 120th Fighter Wing are supporting Expeditionary Fighter Squadron operations at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska. The Montana Vigilantes perform a twofold mission while deployed to Alaska. They provide air sovereignty alert for the defense of our homeland and stand ready to intercept foreign aircraft violating United States airspace. The Montana unit had just completed a similar alert mission in Hawaii, so it was natural for them to volunteer for this new responsibility.
PACAF needed somebody to come up here and fill in for the F-22s while they're going through some modifications, and we were a perfect unit for that. It fell right in place for us. It helped them out and it helped us out, perfect timing for us.
To stay proficient in their alert mission, the Vigilantes perform periodic practice scrambles of their aircraft.
Well, obviously, practice makes perfect. The more we can practice, the better we get. The more efficient we get, and it just works better all around.
When the klaxon sounds, pilots rush to their fighter jets while maintenance crews rapidly prepare their aircraft to be flown. This recurring training helps keep them ready for when they are needed.
Oh, it's just like anything else that we do in the military. You know, the more you practice, the better you are at it, and you're constantly practicing for that one real-world time.
The Montana Air National Guard fighter pilots and maintenance personnel are scheduled to perform this mission through the month of April. The 120th Fighter Wing is well known for taking on missions when asked, and its members volunteering for worldwide deployments. In this report, we highlight the contrast between 2 of the recent deployments made by the Montana Air National Guard unit. The last 2 120th Fighter Wing deployments could not have been held in more diverse locations. On December 7, 2012, the unit completed alert detachment operations at Joint Base Pearl Harbor-Hickam, Hawaii. 1 month later, the unit's pilots, maintenance personnel, and aircraft were leaving Montana to accept a new alert mission serving as the Expeditionary Fighter Squadron at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska. The temperature between the 2 locations can differ as much as 100 degrees. Even so, The Montana Guard Unit found no shortage of volunteers willing to deploy to Alaska during the month of January.
We had more than enough volunteers to fill the positions that we needed to fulfill this commitment. It was very surprising. It was good. It was easy, actually, in that respect, people volunteering to come up here.
Many of the tasks and requirements of the deployments were similar, but each location offered unique challenges to complete the mission. While in Hawaii, the airmen were concerned with working in tropical heat and needed to dress down to stay cool. But in Alaska, they wore cold weather gear to fight the frigid temperature.
Obviously, long johns, hats, gloves are kind of useless when you're trying to work on aircraft, but essentially lots of layers.
I just layer up the fleece and then wear the Gore-Tex and wear the long johns. Hawaii, it was quite the opposite.
It's estimated that 75 members of the fighter wing had volunteered to serve active duty during both deployments.
Which one do I like better? I'm about 50-50. If I could live in each one half the time, that would just be perfect. Well, and split, I love Montana too. I'll have to third it up, I guess. So.
The Montana Guardsmen stationed in Alaska are now enjoying the gradual rise in temperature and increase in daylight hours experienced in the northern latitudes following the winter solstice. The Montana Vigilantes have spent 3 months in Alaska serving with the Expeditionary Fighter Squadron. With the limited amount of daylight available during the winter months, how have the Guardsmen spent their off-duty time? We'd like to introduce you to a member of the 120th Fighter Wing who's been honing his photography skills during his time off from work. 120th Fighter Wing Staff Sergeant Mark Payton is an artist with a camera. The Alaska deployment has provided a goldmine of opportunities for him to photograph.
Oh, I kind of like mostly landscape, outdoor. I do action shots for the most part. You know, I find portraits probably more challenging, just posing and dealing with people, whereas landscape and nighttime photography is pretty simple. Camera on a tripod and you know, the right exposure and the right eye, you can really pull off some amazing stuff. I really came up here hoping to capture the northern lights, and I finally did just a little over a week ago, and I got some really decent shots out of that. One way to become a better photographer is to look at other people's photos. I look at thousands of photos and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, and I like to kind of emulate what I see. Basically, looking at other people's stuff, other images, really will improve your photography immensely. And then I also can share tips with other people that are just getting started, and that's, you know, that's kind of fun too.
Let's take a moment now and see what the members of the 120th Sustainment Services Flight are serving up for us in the dining facility this weekend. Thank you for watching the Montana Air National Guard report for the month of April. We hope you enjoyed our show. Please forward any story ideas you may have for future shows to the Public Affairs Office. Have a great Guard Drill weekend.